Well, my good friend Cleta Mitchell is back in the news again. Legal mind of the right. Cleta Mitchell, you may know her because every time her name comes up, I seem to be associated with her. I did this debate with her on MSNBC back in 2007, I want to say, somewhere around there. And I'm sorry, I try to be humble here, but I destroyed her. It was a debate over who had more corruption in their party, and I listed off about 25 Republicans off the top of my head. And she, of course, could list like three Democrats, and they weren't. She got it all wrong, and kind of went viral in a pre-Twitter age, and it was fun. So Cleta comes up, people reach out to me, but the problem is that she comes up a lot because, much like certain other figures, Roger Stone comes to mind. She's like one of these Forrest Gumps who shows up in every criminal part of the Republican and far-right conspiracy over the last 20 to 30 years. She worked with Tom DeLay, who eventually was indicted and convicted on campaign finance charges. Of course, he got off on a technicality eventually and was overturned. She was DeLay's good bud and advisor. She was on the board and counsel for the NRA, who, of course, accepted Russian money, laundered it into our system, is still being investigated for numerous campaign fraud, for the fact that Maria Butina, a Russian spy, was able to hang out with them and work with them, and God knows how many other things. Oh, yeah, Wayne LaPierre, the head of the NRA, whose wardrobe grew vastly in his yacht collection because he misappropriated funds, if that doesn't sound like a great group of people for her to hang out with. I don't know what does, but she decided she wanted to even take it a step up from there and worked with Donald Trump post-election period, went around, helped work with John Eastman, the infamous lawyer who tried to overthrow our election on memos, also trying to overthrow our election, legal justifications for not counting proper electoral votes, using using a different slate of Republican electors to overturn the will of the people, having state legislators do the same. So much so that she actually was kicked off of kicked out of her law firm, Porter Wright, a respectable law firm that just didn't want anything to do with her anymore. And who could blame him? I think it was Porter Wright. Yeah. So an article came out in the New York Times all about how she is now mobilizing a quote grassroots army. You could also say brownshirts to monitor elections. And you should read that as trying to intimidate and threaten and scare people that are not white, Christian, straight, and voting Republican away. They're going from state to state. This one sort of has her speaking in Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania, where she says she's taking the lessons she learned from 2020, which is were we not able to actually steal votes so we can steal votes next time. But what she's doing, it's the thing that Democrats need to fight back against. It should be worrisome. She is training people to be poll watchers, to take notes on what is going on, to actively intimidate, to actually go and seems like lobby poll workers to listen to what they're saying. Again, it's kind of like going to a judge during a trial and lobbying them. They're doing background checks into state officials, which is insane. So they can that way scare various state officials into thinking that they actually have to agree with her, that the election was stolen. Just so you know, more background after the 2020 election, she was among a group of Republican lawyers, as the New York Times says here, and I will quote, who frantically compiled unsubstantiated accusations, debunked claims, and an array of confusing and inconclusive eyewitness reports to build the case that the election was marred by fraud. Courts rejected the cases and election officials were unconvinced, thwarting a stunning assault on the transfer of power. Well, that is trying to say she tried to take part in a coup and lead one and had a total bunch of BS at her side, all sorts of eyewitnesses that could barely say their own names, probably half drunk at the time. And I think the only thing she didn't do during that time is she was maybe lucky enough to not get farted on by Rudy Giuliani the way Jenna Ellis did. And I think it was a COVID fart, from what I understand. So good for her for avoiding that. But mainstream groups need to fight back against this. Democratic groups, the media, I'm glad they're writing about this here, but there needs to be more because she's putting together these election deniers. It's funny how they're in groups. The New York Times says it includes a loose network of influential and fringe groups, and they list the Tea Party patriots and the Republican National Committee. Gee, which one do you think is fringe and which one do you think is mainstream? I'm going to go with they're both fringe. The fact that the Republican National Committee has worked with her in any way, an election denier, someone who tried to overthrow our elections, someone who worked with the NRA and their Russian cohorts, and that the RNC has not been put on blast by the media constantly and just destroyed as an organization. Ronna Romney McDaniel, whatever the hell her name is. Again, media is not doing their job. What's new? They're also working with the Election Integrity Network. Look at that, though, like when George W. Bush said, clean skies and healthy forests. The Conservative Partnership Institute. Right-wing think tank with close ties and financial backing from Mr. Trump's organization, of course. And she and her voluntary group of brown shirts plan to sort of go out across the country and cause chaos during the next election. And we need to stop them. That's why we need a voting rights bill. So we need to get rid of the filibuster. However, we can do that. That's why the pressure needs to put on Manchin and Sinema. That's why Kamala Harris, as the president of the Senate, may have some say in what rules are unconstitutional. I'm going to talk more about that in the future. There's no sort of appeasing these people, and there's no working with them. We need to step up and fight them now to stop them from stealing our elections, and Cleta Mitchell's at the forefront of that. So, in lieu of the fact that I probably won't be able to debate her again, which would be so much fun because she is sort of half a moron, people of sort of goodwill and who understand these things need to get out the word about what Cleta Mitchell's up to everywhere in the states, federally, how she's trying to work with far-right lunatics to steal our elections, and there's not much more to say. We need to stop them if we'd like to continue having a democracy. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this. Please subscribe. Please turn on your notifications. If you want to comment, that would be awesome. You can say nice things. You could say, Cliff, you're so cool, or Cliff, God, you're such a jerk. Also, like the videos. That would be cool. Watch them again. Send them to your friends, family, everyone. Seriously. And I might have said turn on notifications. If I didn't, please do that. Thanks a lot.